Hello, welcome to Off the Shelf Reviews.
I always thought MacGyver was the Guyver.
And I'm Gary. And today we're going to review and discuss Guyver, Dark Hero, which came out in 1994, directed and produced by Steve Wang. Iain, why don't you give us the synopsis?
Well, 1 year after the Guyver destroyed the Kronos Corporation in Los Angeles, we follow Sean Barker, who has uncovered information that at a local archaeological dig site might hold some secrets concerning the Guyver unit.
Just hang on to your checkbook.
So, critically, the first film didn't do that well.
Yes, surprising.
It made some money, but not enough to keep the studios happy anyway, and so they were happy to just let any possibility of a sequel go.
Yeah.
Steve Wang was, he wanted to do a sequel, but not for the budget that they were offering. I think the first film had a budget of around $3 million. They were offering less than $1 million for the follow-up, and Steve Wang was just like, you know what, I can't do a film on that budget. But they turned to him and said, how about you just have complete creative control over this film, and you can just do what you want with it. And that was enough for him to go, okay, let me see what I can do.
Yeah.
And, his main kind of idea was to, again, be as faithful to the source material as possible.
Yeah.
And to remove the silliness and the cartooniness and the goofiness that was the first film.
Yes.
And this time, he was given the ability to go and make a full R rating or an 18 rating on this film instead of the PG cut that became the original Guyver film.
Yeah. This film is legendary, I suppose, to me, because I've always heard it from you that I should never watch this film.
I'm not its biggest fan.
No, but you own it on DVD as well. So I remember seeing it in the DVD collection like, oh, I should watch this. And Gary saying to me like, Iain, no, just don't. The first one, you should watch the first one. You love the first one. The second one, no. So I'm like, oh, okay. And then obviously we watched the first one and...
I want that jiving thing, boy.
Then come and get me.
And then we got to the second one, and the first thing that always jumps out to me with this movie is David Hayter.
Legend.
Legendary voice of Solid Snake, playing Sean Barker. He's taken over this role, and right at the start, he gives us the rundown. He connects it to the first movie by saying, look, a year ago, I got this alien unit. It turns into this super bio booster body armor that I wear, and I sliced up these secret aliens that have been hiding among us, and... Now I just kind of walk the streets of Los Angeles, killing goons whenever I choose. And, we cut to, like a warehouse. It's terrible. You've got your standard Miami Vice boss, DC, and his mate Benny. They're bringing in dolls, plastic dolls. And I don't know science. I don't know cocaine.
It is.
Is it possible?
It is possible
to make dolls out of cocaine and then melt it back to
yes.
pure.
Yes, it is possible.
Right.
But it's clear plastic, not Barbie dolls. But then again, I'm like, okay, this is a sci-fi alien invasion kind of story, so like you can forgive some of the science.
The way the guy's selling it, like he fully believes this script.
Yeah.
But it's when it's also like. Benny hears a noise and he goes off and then climbs like the highest gantry he can find. Hey, there's nobody up here. Well, come down, Benny, because trust me, in about 2 seconds, somebody's going to be there. And we see the Guyver kind of just appear behind him. He comes flying off the top of that gantry and crashes into the car. And
the Guyver emerges from the mist.
Yeah. Now, we already know this movie's going to be a lot different than the first one because of the blood.
Right.
On that little control panel from the dead guard, which I was like, ooh, okay, over the top. You're really grabbing my attention. And then watching the Guyver come out that mist.
Well, it's an absolute callback to the Guyver's very first appearance in the manga. They borrowed a lot of the shots and style from that and tried to be faithful to that material.
Yeah. Anthony Hook, the actor, the suit actor inside the Guyver suit. I've got to give him credit because, David Hayter, he's going to get a lot of the shine in this film. But for me, I'm a fan of Power Rangers, VR Troopers, Big Bad Beetleborgs, guys in suits just beating stuff up. And so knowing that the silliness is out and the seriousness is in, watching this stunt actor just beat the crap out these guys in the Guyver suit. Oh yeah, it's awesome.
Oh, it's impressive. Like watching that guy get his leg broken.
Oh,
I was just
yeah,
like, oh,
yeah.
like this is different. Like I didn't expect that.
Yeah.
But I should also say that the version we've watched for this video as well was the 2-hour version.
Oh yes,
It's
oh,
kind of like
God.
the director's cut.
Oh,
Because
God.
I never remember seeing that leg break in the original version, and yeah, it's been like 20 years since I've seen the shorter version, and so yeah, we've watched the long version, which I didn't even realize there was until watching this film. But yeah, you can just tell from that fight choreography that it's definitely a step up from the previous entry.
Yeah, there's not as many edits. The camera does leave it on the guy to actually have a couple of blocks and a couple of kicks. I mean, he gets hold of DC, and the gangland boss. He's already killed this security guard, which like you just shoot him once, don't you? Like you don't have to unload your whole gun into him, just to imply like this guy is evil if you don't get the idea. And then the Guyver grabs him and he says, no, I want to go to jail. And the Guyver just slices his throat and blood pools out, and you're like, oh wow, okay. But then we cut to then David Hayter, Sean at home watching TV, and this is where the film kind of caught me, because he's sat at home chilling watching TV. He has a dream, which was quite cool. It was a bit Event Horizon-y. Quick cuts, body parts on him, David Hayter screaming, but then it cuts back to the apartment and he's just still chilling watching TV. And I'm like, oh my God. And it really dragged on at one point. I swear it felt like 2 days, and then I realized it was only half an hour.
Right. Well, he catches a news broadcast of this supernatural show, and there's some guy claiming that a werewolf killed his hunting friend, and...
which he's recording.
Yes,
because he rewinds, so he's setting his video to tape while he goes out at night as the Guyver.
Maybe. Maybe he's trying to, find these bizarre reports or incidents so that the Guyver can go there and deal with whatever monstrosity is at whatever location.
Yeah, because he's completely separated himself from Mizki.
Yeah.
Like, he actually has this whole moment with her when he gets the information that these two, redneck hunters had gone out, and one of them had been attacked by a werewolf. First there was a man, and then it was this monster, so he thinks it's a zoonoid. And he goes and talks to Mizki and says, look, I'm going to go up to this archaeological dig up in Utah. I need information. And she's like, when is this going to end? And it's really terrible. It's not exciting or enjoyable. I like David Hayter, and every now and again I close my eyes while watching this film and just pretended it was Solid Snake talking. But the problem was, the film was so boring, I kept falling asleep. And I had to rewind it a couple of times just to catch up with myself, to be like, what's going on?
Right. Well, yeah, Miski's just like, oh, you've turned into this killer. And, and Sean's just like, no, it's not me, it's the suit.
Yeah.
And she's like, when will it end? And he's like, I don't know. I need to go here and find out what the Guyver is and what it's doing to me. And I need answers. And she's like, well, we're breaking up then.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, okay.
And hitchhikes to Utah.
Oh, okay then.
Yeah. It's I was surprised. Your mind wanders when the film's really boring. He hitchhikes to Utah, so he's not got a job during the day.
I guess one hell of a long montage.
Is he stealing the money from the criminals and paying his rent? Because he doesn't live with Mizki.
No.
Like I said, it really got boring, because he gets to this shop and he's looking for information on the archaeological dig, but the guy, he's just your standard redneck, doesn't want to talk about these kind of things. But he gets the attention of Kathy Christopherson's character, Corey Edwards, who kind of plays it coy with him at first. She's wondering why he's wanting to go up there and, trying to keep him at arm's length. Is he going for the soldier look?
He's got the tags,
yeah,
isn't
he's
he?
wearing
Yeah.
the dog tags. And then in this scene, he's wearing a camo top.
Yeah,
Which
yeah.
I was like, I don't remember Sean being...
No, he was like a student,
Yeah,
we don't know much about
He
him.
was a fucking clown in the first one, so this one, he gets in the car with Corey, and they drive up to the dig, and I like I said, I was trying to keep with it. It is absolutely boring. Driving all the way up to the dig, realizing that now Corey is just the female, the replacement female for Miski, and that she and Sean are just going to get this relationship on. And like I said, I paused it at one point thinking, how long's this film? And realizing it's 2 hours. I was like, oh, Gary, you bastard. You bastard. And realized I was only 45 minutes in and they're just getting to the archaeological dig, you know. And once they get there, she goes off to find her dad, Dr. Marcus Edwards, who's you know, in charge of the team doing the archaeological dig. But he's also got Mr. Crane, who is the financing the dig. And Mr. Crane is on Marcus's back. Like, you need to find something really, really good. You know, we need to sell it to the big dogs.
Apparently they've been doing this dig for about 5 years now. And I do say I really quite like this set. And
yeah.
I hope you do too, because this is where the rest of the movie is set
totally.
as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like the fact that they see fossils of like dinosaurs. But then again, you're just thinking, well, dinosaur, zoonoid.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Zoonoids made the dinosaurs, so that's why some of the zoonoids look like dinosaurs. But I'll say, yeah, okay, that's fine. But yeah, it's just, the dialogue is not that interesting. The delivery of the dialogue is not that interesting. The only interesting thing is like the flirtatious relationship between Corey and Sean.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just like, okay, you know, they kind of work together, but it's still not that interesting. And it is like at the hour mark, you know, we had the fight at the beginning, and then it's almost an entire hour before we get the alarm that there is a bear in the woods and it's attacking somebody.
Yeah, well, it felt to me, it felt like a TV show. Like this whole section in the archaeological dig before the first zoonoid turns up. You know, like you could just do a whole episode of them just establishing that, because you kind of need it. You know, Sean is looking around at all the different symbols, and you, the audience, are like, oh, he feels something there.
Well, he had already in his notebook had drawn the symbols.
Yeah, you know, and so he's connected to it, but it's badly delivered to you that it's so boring you don't care. And so, like Gary said, when the huntsman who's trying to, you know, get revenge for his brother turns up with the photographer to get the photo of the bear, the zoonoid turns up and it looks nothing like a fucking bear. It's a fucking rhino.
Right.
You know, and it looks cool, but it also looks like my brain was dead by this point of the movie, and I'm like, anything looks really good. Where's the slice? Where's the shit from the first movie coming up?
Yeah.
You know,
the only problem I have with this zoonoid is its sound effect. I mean, it looks like a rhino and sounds like a bag of angry cats.
Yeah. It's constant, you know. Yeah. It's a constant noise over and over, and Sean's just like, hey Corey, you go and go get some help, I'm gonna go fight the bear. And she's like, okay. What?
Yeah, it's like, I mean, the film has dropped its humor, but it still has goofy moments like that.
Yes.
And because they now stand out like a sore thumb,
because
it's made it worse. Like, I loved the goofiness and zaniness because it ran throughout the original film. In this film, there's just pockets of it, which it just feels out of place now.
When you mix it with some of the, and like I said, I mean this in total respect to David Hayter, but you're a terrible actor when it comes to putting a camera on you. But then cutting to the change, you know, he changes into the armor, and then we cut back to now the Guyver is now fighting the rhino. And we've just seen the photographer just get his face sliced by the zoonoid, which I thought was pretty damn good. You know, you actually see like the head just fall on the floor. I thought, you know, I've got to give a lot of credit to Steve Wang, you know, putting the attention in, like, okay, if the talking's going to be boring as fuck, we need to make the action sequence exciting. And they have this whole fight sequence, and Guyver gets a couple of slices on him, but then Corey turns up with her friends, and, you know, the zoonoid escapes. But we also get introduced to Christopher Michael playing Commander Atkins. Now, we don't realise he's part of the military until we start to follow his character throughout the rest of this movie, because he finds a piece of the flesh from the zoonoid, takes it. Sean sees this and follows him around to listens in on Atkins' conversation with somebody.
Yeah, I mean, they're both very suspicious of each other.
Yes.
They don't realize it, that they're kind of on the same team.
Yeah,
but they both think the other might be a zoonoid.
Well, we've already had that person communicating with somebody at what looks to be another Kronos corporation.
Yeah.
And definitely they're a zoonoid, and it's like, okay, so now it's a detective mystery of who in the camp can we trust. We definitely know we can trust Corey, and we know we can trust Sean to a point, so he doesn't slice people up.
Yeah. So it's not long after all of that they soon discover that the within the cave there's a giant structure, and so they all start digging away at it. They're all getting excited that there's something there, and they reveal that there's like a giant spacecraft.
Yeah.
At first they're just like, well, it sounds like metal, but it feels like leather.
Yeah.
Like it's an organic machine. And so they dig it all away, and then they're like, okay, now we found a way inside. We're going to go wander around inside this alien spacecraft. Nobody touch nothing. So Corey's just like, ooh, what's in this? And she
hands all over coronavirus.
tucks right in there, and she pulls out what looks like a Guyver unit, which gets Crane all excited. He's like, aha, that's exactly what we've been after this whole time. And so you're sat there watching like,
Yeah. I like the guy with the security cap who follows him around all over the place.
Right. So yeah, they twirl their villainous mustaches and they walk away with this broken, it appears to be a broken Guyver unit, which upsets Corey. But then her dad, he's just like, well, I guess I kind of promised they could take whatever they wanted, so we've got to let them go.
Yeah.
And we've watched Crane take it back, and he gets on the phone to his boss, and he's like, yes, we've got it, but it's broken. And the boss is like, you've got to bring it to me now.
Yeah.
It's important that you get it to me within the next hour.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, oh, really? Why? What's the rush? Like, you've waited 5 years plus.
It's because he wants it. He wants, obviously, this guy on the screen is like the big, head leader of the Kronos Corporation, like the guy was in the first one. But with the fact that we have to keep everything maintained on this alien spaceship set, because we can't show any other location because we haven't got the budget and all the money's gone into the great special suits, we now just have to maintain the relationship between Corey and Sean. And like they just drag out the whole working together. And Mr. Crane ends up getting hold of Sean and reveals to him that he is this badass looking zoonoid, which was quite a cool effect.
Yeah, the transformation was cool. The moment he kind of launched at the camera and transformed.
He kind of looked like the Sagawa, I think it was, from the first one. Which was like a fishman kind of zoonoid. And they stick to the whole, there are different zoonoids. Yeah. But some of them you look at and you're like, really? Is that the kind of choice you went with? But he tries to, I don't know if he was trying to go for it in this scene, but he tries to convince Sean that he's a good zoonoid.
Yeah, it's a typical villain kind of speech where he's just like, he kind of reminds me of like Bishop from Alien 3.
Yeah,
he's just like, you still can have a life, just give me the thing.
Yeah, just give me the Guyver unit, and...
He's like, we know it's causing you trouble and you're having nightmares and you don't understand it, so just give it to me and you'll be able to go and have a normal life.
Yeah.
And Sean's like, you know what, I'm a superhero and I'm kicking ass, so actually no, you can't have it.
I'm going to keep it. And so the evil boss is just like, well, I'm going to kidnap you and I'm going to kidnap Corey. And they chuck her in a Jeep.
Yeah.
And go for just off on a drive while also containing all of the rest of the dig site staff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what is your overwhelming goal here? You've already got the broken Guyver unit. You've knocked out Sean, so you could literally just cut off his head.
No, but they tie him up with some ribbons.
Yeah, but that's it. Just cut off his head. Right. Like, how's the Guyver unit? I mean, I know it can regenerate.
Well, they actually, if anything, I guess they need him to be in Guyver form so that they can grab the ball, so that they can actually get the Guyver unit.
Right, yeah.
But the thing is, from what I understand of the Guyver lore, is once a Guyver has bonded with a host, it's kind of permanent. Yeah. Because the Guyver absorbs the DNA, so that if it is separated from its human or zoonoid host,
like in the first one,
it will regrow them from its DNA, which is now in part of the Guyver, so it will just always regenerate them. I don't know what they're doing with Sean here.
So and they
it's giving them enough time to get away with Corey and the broken Guyver unit.
But then Corey's Jeep is attacked by another zoonoid, and I'm like, at this point, my brain had literally just decided to go to bed, and I'm sat there autopilot trying to work out exactly what the overwhelming arc of this is going to, because this Zoonoid's turned up, and I'm like, okay, who's the good Zoonoid? I thought he was the good, Mr. Crane was the good one, but now he's the bad one, and he's got this unit, and they've got hold of Sean, and Sean's being saved by Atkins now, who's got this whole team of fucking soldiers turn up to obviously rescue everybody at the dig site, and it's all very TV fucking run-of-the-mill, straight-to-DVD budget-wise. You realise that Corey's dad is a Zoonoid. And I'm like, so does that make Corey half Zoonoid?
Well, like we know with the Zoonoid lore is that in this universe, humans were created by Zoonoids, so every human in this series has the potential to become a Zoonoid. It just needs the Kronos company just to activate you, I guess.
Right. Because they have this whole massive fight. I mean, her dad looks like a kind of insect thing.
Yeah.
Which was kind of cool. But, I don't know if that's replicating of the kind of person he is in real life. Like, he's just like a scientist
The Kronos company, I guess they can pick and choose what type of Zoonoid you become.
Yeah, because he's got to fight the Rhino guy, and the Rhino guy's beating the fucking shit out of him.
Yeah. Yeah, and we have like a chase sequence where Corey's running away. Her dad's trying to put up a fight, and they end up in the water. There's lots of acrobatics.
Yeah.
Sean obviously is now racing to get there, but he realizes there's like a giant fucking cliff edge between them.
Yes.
So it's one of my favorite kind of shots in the film where he kind of braces and then just does a run and jump and transforms mid-fall.
I know, and that really kind of bummed me out because I saw that bit and I'm like, how did you keep that shot from me? That's such an amazing shot.
It is cool, yeah. the nice landing, and then he kind of speed runs off. Now, in the Guyver sort of manga, the Guyver unit can almost fly.
Yeah, I kind of figured.
So, but obviously Sean at this stage is still learning his abilities.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
He just kind of just catches up with the monsters now, and he massively just whoops all their asses. I do like the bit in the water where they're in this massive puddle. It's really shallow, but Sean disappears underneath it like he can swim for miles, and then launches out the back behind one of these Zoonoids and just right off his head. I'm like, oh, that was really good. Why is the rest of this movie so bad? And fighting the Rhino, I mean, like, I don't know if you remember it, like, the Rhino death, is it as this gory in the original version?
I don't remember it being so, no. Because he breaks his wrists, which is, again, a callback to the very first episode of the manga.
Yeah, it's fucking repeatedly stabs him in the ribs with his elbow blades, and then lasers him in the eyes.
Blasts his eyeballs out, yeah. I never remember seeing that in the original VHS that I had of the film. So yeah, I mean, that was exciting.
Yeah.
It was very well done. But then at the same time, I'm just like, so now he's got eye laser beams. Like, we saw him do the opening credits at the beginning. I was like, why doesn't he use his eye beams all the time? It'd be so much easier.
Well, like you said, we're still trying to figure out the powers. I mean, Sean's supposedly got to get control of the Guyver and not let the Guyver just do all the work, even though it can. I mean, he almost kills Corey and her dad at the same time because he fails to recognize that her dad is a Zoonoid. But he stops at the last moment, which was cool, as cool as this movie can get. But Crane has got hold of the Guyver unit and become a Zoonoid Guyver.
Right.
The Atkins soldiers, they've all been wiped out and they've been captured. And, we know at this point that the Zoonoids can't get hold of anything. They're not allowed, they can't have the ship. They can't have the technology. If they get any of this, they're going to take over the world. This is their whole, aim in life, isn't it? To obviously global domination. Now they've got a whole ship, basically, of fucking Guyver units that they can use.
Yeah.
And they have to have this massive throwdown. But Crane's Guyver unit is damaged.
Right.
So it's
he's not at full power because of that.
Yeah.
And it is still a fantastic suit. The monster suit mixed with the Guyver. I'll say it's really good looking and would actually make for a good fight between him and our Guyver hero.
Yeah.
I should also point out that the Lisker Zoanoid creature is in this one as well.
I was going to ask that actually because the Zoanoid kept popping up, and I'm like, that looks exactly like Lisker from the first
It
one.
is the exact same suit. But
I know it's the suit, but I don't think it's the.
It's not, no.
Yeah.
But that's again, it's like within the lore of this show.
Yeah.
The Kronos Corporation can keep creating the same looking Zoanoids
Nice.
from different humans, depending on what their tasks are going to be.
Yeah.
And obviously this one is just he looks like one of the most intimidating ones.
Yeah, he's definitely a soldier type.
Yeah.
Zoanoid.
Yeah. And he fares as well as his counterpart did in the original film.
So, getting to the final fight sequence, Atkins breaks free from his captive and gets chased by the female Zoanoid all over the rest of the movie. And I do like the fact that he electrocutes her and takes her out.
Right.
And then shoots her like twice in the head.
Well, she turns back into her human form then because she was bulletproof otherwise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And another Zoanoid takes a stick of dynamite to the mouth and gets his head blown up. But Marcus has been, heavily injured. And coming to the final fight sequence, it was what I found was quite a cool twist. Was I was well into the Guyver, fighting, but then when he starts to lose, Corey makes the last save.
Yeah, she grabs the gun and hits the bullseye.
Yeah,
which of course disables Crane, and then the Guyver's he gets up and then does his chest beam where he rips out the socket.
Yeah.
Then uses his chest beam, and I like the effect of Crane melting.
Yes, yeah.
Like you can see the skull breaking through and all this black ooze just pouring out.
Yeah.
It's pretty damn frightening to look at. And then chest beam of obliteration.
I did think for a second, like when he ripped out the ball, I'm like, why are you doing that? He's just gonna regenerate. But through it being damaged and then destroying the ball, it's like, nope, you are not coming back at all. But it's then just like the whole end battle sequence makes the film like exciting, and then it just resorts back to your standard terrible straight to DVD schlock where Atkins is like, hey man, we're making this underground army to take on the Kronos corporations because obviously there's hundreds of Kronos corporations all over the world. It's a global pandemic, and look, we just watched this alien spacecraft fly off into space, so there's something out there we could really do with your help. And David Hayter's like, nah.
And he wanders off with Corey.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, oh right, so he's got the Guyver suit under control now.
Yeah.
He can do it just whenever he wants, not when it wants. Is he gonna make lots of baby Zoanoid Guyvers with Corey?
Well, this film didn't critically do that well. I mean, it did better than the original film, but commercially, it also didn't do very well.
Yeah.
Still, it made its money back. And David Hayter and Steve Wang wanted to make a third installment, but for whatever reason, the rights reverted back to Japan,
yes.
where they've kind of stayed.
Yeah.
At one point, Telltale Games wanted to do a Guyver series of games, but again, they couldn't get the rights out of Japan either. There's been a lot of talk, even over the last couple of years, they've asked Steve Wang and David Hayter, is there going to be another one? And they've said, it's unlikely now. What's most likely is that the series will get a film reboot at some point in
probably,
time,
yeah.
but which also means that they probably won't have any involvement in that either. This is kind of where the movie franchise has ended and has been for 20 plus years now.
Disney's The Guyver next summer, I bet you.
Oh no. Well, Ian, do you have any favourite scenes from Guyver Dark Hero?
I do have a couple. I mean, the whole warehouse fight sequence with the gangsters, that's really cool. Like I said, the suit actor Anthony Hoke, if I'm doing your name right, hopefully, he was the saving grace for a lot of the fight sequences. When you're watching him go up against the Rhino Zoanoid or Lisker's Zoanoid or the Super Zoanoid at the end, the Guyver suit is the saving grace for a lot of those sequences. A lot of the talking moments, oh my god, are just not even worth going through. But you kind of need them. I do like David Hayter's nightmare sequences at the beginning, kind of establishing this internal conflict he's having with the Guyver. But it's not explored as much as I wanted to. You have a couple more flashbacks later on. Like you have the really cool sequence where they talk about where this craft has come from, about how it came to Earth and landed and started laying these eggs, which became zoonoids, which would later become humans. But the ships left, and then this one stayed, you know, and this is what they want because there's Guyver units inside it. So you're like, okay, that's really, really cool. But it's, you know, you only get that 3/4 of the way through the movie. You know, that should have been like there the first night that Sean turned up at the archaeological dig, and then we could have stayed there for a couple more days. Want to see something really scary? Want to see something really scary? That whole fucking section is fucking scary. You know, Sean's just walking back to camp, and this guy's stumbling out drunk because they're so happy that they found this alien ship, and he says, do you want to see something really scary? But then it just slows down. And it's really unneeded.
Right.
And it just, that feels really out of place and just feels like you want to shoot. Yeah, I'm not doing it again.
Do you want to see something really scary?
Laughing, I love my job. Man, that alien creature just standing there in front of the camera, just so happy with himself and so pleased of where he is in his life, not realizing that he's going to get his head sliced off at some point.
Yeah.
Like I said, just a lot of the special effects towards the end. You know, I love the moment when the Guyver comes flying out the water and slices the guy in the back of the head. You know, I love it when he fucking just obliterates the rhino guy. You know, I like when he gets hold of the Alpha upgrade one, and even when Corey saves him, you know, like, I didn't see that coming. I thought, okay, he's gonna just fire his super chest blast in a minute and obliterate this huge creature, and we're gonna be happy. But she saves him. I'm like, oh, cool twist.
Yeah.
And then he just obliterates him and makes this fucking massive hole. So yeah, good times.
Yeah, I don't have that many favorite scenes. I think that my favorite visual is the nightmare at the beginning.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's Event Horizon meets Hellraiser. You know, with all of these black tendrils holding his limbs, and you can just see the Guyver kind of attaching itself to him.
Yeah.
It definitely evokes that horror imagery, and Sean screaming out in pain as the symbiote Guyver is, you know, taking control of him.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, that visual was fantastic. Really well done. The evil villainous laugh that I love my job. I was just like, oh, that's straight out of the original movie.
Oh, yeah.
I love my job.
And I guess I like the warehouse sequence at the beginning. You know, it was again pretty cheesy, but then that leg break was when I just went, ooh. Like, oh, this is different.
Yeah.
As for worst scenes, almost take any just dialogue sequence from the film. It just goes on and on.
It was really terrible. Was that sequence at the end where, like, her dad's been injured and then he just comes back in human form, but he's got all these bruises on him and he's like, wait, everybody. You know, he's trying to kind of impose himself on the sequence like, dude, you're not needed. Nobody cares. Cora's going to leave with fucking Sean anyway and he's going to kill the main dude. Oh, but I want to be relevant.
No, sorry.
Sorry.
Well, Ian, do you recommend Guyver Dark Hero?
Oh, man, I never thought I'd ever say this, and I'm glad I'm getting it on tape. Yes, I do recommend Guyver Dark Hero, but couple of rules we've got to establish here, people. You can only watch it if you're going to watch the first one first. Okay, you can only watch it if you really enjoy guys in suits cosplaying, beating the crap out of each other like it's a Power Rangers, you know, Japanese fighting set. If you're a fan of David Hayter and Solid Snake and you've never seen him act before, you have to watch it. You owe yourself to watch it. It's terrible. The music is terrible. The acting, the storyline, just everything. It's 2 hours. I mean, I gotta stop watching boring ass 2 hour long movies because you know. Some of the fight sequences are really, really good. There's a lot of gore in it, and some of the special effects in the background of the lore of the Guyver is really good in this one, unlike the first one. But, you know, where the first one is silliness and stupidity, this is seriousness and stupidity. And if you like stupidity, then you get twice the amount of stupidity, and a mixture of silliness and seriousness, silliness. Yeah.
Now, I will not be recommending Guyver Dark Hero.
Really?
It's a really disappointing sequel with a dreadfully slow pace, poor acting, tedious music, and a dull plot.
Oh man.
The script was lacking substance, the villains uninteresting, and the heroes without charm. The whole production was cheap with the made-for-TV feel, and the R rating or added gore this time around was so uninspired, I wonder why they bothered.
Yeah, you wonder why they borrowed.
The only positives I can give this disaster of a film was the impressive stunt work and some of the creative creature designs. The fights were fairly good, sometimes brutal and sometimes silly. But you have to wait long, boring stretches in
Yep.
between. I know the general consensus is that this film is better than the first, and tonally, it is. It's more serious, it's slightly darker, and it's less cringy because it has no rapping zoonoids.
Yeah, I just remembered that.
I love the wacky and cartoony feel of the first one, and I know that's not for everyone. And I probably won't ever watch this film ever again.
No, neither. I'm never watching either of them ever again.
Thanks for watching Off the Shelf Reviews.
I love my job.